Welcome everyone to our semifinal round here of Factura Plays presentation of the Gym Challenge League Cup here at the Pico Rivera, California. I am Jesus Coronel, that is NSI. So once again, we have our semifinalists. We have Riley Factura and Junxi Zhu. And this is going to be either something you expected to happen or something that you at least know happened entirely. As we're going to see here, thank goodness for... there's a few outcries in the chat that Riley didn't get to pick the music.
I like it when Riley gets to pick the music, personally. Personally, I think it's funny.
Anyway, Miraidon, Whimsicott, Urshifu Rapid Strike, Iron Crown, and Cineroar Ursaluna for Riley, Junxi on the Urshifu Rapid Strike, Cornus Thorn Ogrepon, Grimmsnarl, Landers Incarnate, Calyrex Ice Rider, and the Raging Bolt.
Yeah, we've seen both these teams earlier today, and it's interesting because both of these teams do have somewhat slow modes and somewhat quick modes, if that makes any sense.
And also, if you're also wondering who the other semifinalist is, it's Benjamin Harlan, the defending Gym Challenge champion, against Tyler DC.
Yeah, as we saw in that last matchup, and Benji beat Brandon, who I believe was 6-0 out of...
Yeah, he was undefeated.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal in these tournaments. You can go 6-0 through Swiss and still miss out on top 4, and still miss out on ending up on stream in top cut. More importantly, but
I mean, Brandon ended up on stream.
He was on stream today, just not in top cut.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have this semifinal on stream. We have the other one on the camera of Junxi, in case you're looking at it. Right now.
Yeah, you could actually see it in the background there.
Okay, so it's Miraidon versus Calyrex Ice Rider, and the only spin of Speaker Toy, as he mentioned, is a Tailwind from Whimsicott, and then Trick Room from Calyrex Ice Rider, as the rest of Junxi seems built to be naturally fast stuff, while Riley's more so like adapted to like what's being presented, like the Grimmsnarl and Raging Bolt lead from Junxi, and Miraidon Iron Crown from Riley.
Yeah, I like the Grimmsnarl because you do just get to click light screen in Miraidon's face, which always feels pretty good, especially because Raging Bolt feels pretty good in this matchup. Miraidon, and this is Terra Ghost Miraidon, I have to mention.
We do see Terra Ground Terra Blast being clicked from this Iron Crown. Gonna go ahead and target on that Raging Bolt if it's able to get away with it.
Yeah, and Crown's Terra Ground. So there's a lot of awkward interactions that Raging Bolt could have here, but in general, Grimmsnarl, if it gets the light screen up, then Junxi's going to feel decent, at least. I don't know what Raging Bolt needs to accomplish here, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we do see that Terra Escalation from that Iron Crown, which I believe also got a special attack booster from the core drive, if I saw that correctly. If not, I apologize.
I have to imagine it's special attack. There's not a lot else that Crown can even accomplish with its stat spread.
Alright, there is the light screen coming out from this Grimmsnarl, and with that light glaze, it's going to increase that duration of special attack boost to 8 turns. Here is a Dragon Pulse into this Raging Ball. That's a lot of damage to that thunderous Pokemon. Terra Blast is going to double it up, and it's going to get KO'd.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it's never good to lose one of your Pokemon on the first turn for not much.
I mean, you only got a light screen up, but that's about it.
You only get a light screen up, but it wasn't a terrible turn for Junxi, I don't think. I think that Junxi does have ways to progress here. You did see Dragon Pulse was the lock for Miraidon,
which it's not going to do anything to this Grimmsnarl because of that fairy typing, and presumably, assuming that it's Calyrex Ice Rider in the back, it's not going to do a whole lot with light screen up.
Yeah, exactly, and Calyrex Ice Rider can come in now and click Glacial Lance fairly comfortably, which would be pretty nice for Junxi if that's the play. In general, I mean, Junxi needs something that can take hits from these two, because right now he's kind of...
It's Calyrex, it's Calyrex.
Yeah. Calyrex makes sense as the choice here, and Glacial Lance will probably knock out both of these two if it's allowed to, which means that Riley now has some choices to make. Do you have an option to KO Calyrex right now? Probably not, even if you go for like a Tachyon Cutter. Like, Dragon Pulse Tachyon Cutter, maybe, but then you have to just worry about Calyrex just terastallizing and taking away that possibility, and also that's assuming that it gets through the light screen.
Yeah, and that's something that Miraidon doesn't want to worry about with Glacial Lance. And Urshifu is going to comfortably take a Glacial Lance much better.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I mean,
oh, it protects.
Ooh, that's interesting. I wonder.
And the Iron Crown didn't protect, so it goes to attack young Cutter and it hits the wrong Pokemon. I mean, not necessarily it was the wrong Pokemon. Like Grimmsnarl can now just sit there and just get a Spirit Break off of the Iron Crown, which is going to lower its damage output.
Yeah, it sure will. Either target a Spirit Break could have gone into, wouldn't have been a bad choice, but this is a decent spot for both of them. I don't know. It's not a bad spot for either of them to be in right now. It's a question of what can Urshifu accomplish against Calyrex. I mean, that's always one of the weird things, is that Urshifu just has neutral hits into Calyrex, which usually is good for Urshifu, and still is in this case, but Calyrex is super bulky. You do also have to worry, because I think, as much as Glacial Lance by itself probably does not KO Urshifu, Spirit Break plus Glacial Lance probably does.
Well, I mean, Glacial Lance is just going to knock out the Iron Crown against that ground typing. Yeah, that's a bit brutal to underweight the land, because now Urshifu is probably going to be moving slower than the Calyrex, depending on how it's trained. Well, it's not going to be slower than the Iron Crown, so it is going to get at least one attack count cut off. I still did half.
That's a lot of damage, and that's through Light Screen at -1. Like, that's so many...
yeah, it's just a Life Orb special attack booster, and yeah, it is faster than Urshifu now, so it is going to get the Glacial Lance off. Knocks out the Iron Crown. Urshifu takes it pretty comfortably, but can it get an attack off?
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't... Yeah, if it gets to attack, then Riley's still in a fantastic spot. If it doesn't, then this could get dicey pretty quickly.
There's the attack boost from the Chilling Nade from Calyrex Ice Rider, and Urshifu does get the attack off. It's close combat, and it's not enough!
Okay, that's... I feel like Surging Strikes would have gotten the KO there. I don't know, maybe.
I mean, what's the Mystic Water count? Because a lot of people say that Surging Strikes is inherent.
Mystic Water added on to the crit, added on to everything else. I feel like Surging Strikes would have gotten that, especially at that small of a range. Like, Close Combat might have been a damage roll.
Yeah, because what I was going to say is that a lot of people would presume that Surging Strikes is a weaker move because it's effectively like a 110 base power move somewhere around there after all the multipliers and such. I don't know how much damage that Mystic Water applies to it, but Miraidon's going to take it in place of Iron Crown.
Yeah, so tough there, but I mean, at the very least, like, Calyrex is on extremely low HP, and honestly, this isn't that bad for Riley, because Calyrex is on super low HP. If you want, Miraidon can just, like, discharge, and you lose your Urshifu if you do that, but Urshifu can, like, protect or something, I don't know. In any case,
I mean, it doesn't mean if it can protect.
Yeah, if it can protect. Regardless, you can get rid of Calyrex and then just worry about the Grimmsnarl. Although you do have to consider the fact that Miraidon, assuming, and we know, but assuming that Landorus is in the back, Miraidon has to be able to switch out one more time.
Urshifu switches out, though.
Yeah.
And in comes Riley's last Pokemon, and it is Whimsicott.
I think that's smart. You don't want to lose Urshifu right now, because if you lose Urshifu, then you might not be able to switch your Miraidon move to something that hits...
Oh, a Volt Switch catches to protect!
I think that's the right move there.
And now Spirit Break goes into the Whimsicott slot.
Okay, that's unfortunate for Junxi, I think, because I think you would have wanted that into Miraidon instead. Not that it would have done a ton, like, it wouldn't have stopped Calyrex from getting knocked out by the next Volt Switch, but although if you are Junxi, you could switch in, assuming again that it's Landorus there, you could switch in the Landorus for the Volt Switch there, take no damage, force a hard switch out from Miraidon, and see what happens.
Yeah, because there's just a lot of things that could happen in this turn where it's like, if Calyrex is able to, like, survive the turn, I don't think it should, because, well, there's no priority on Junxi's side.
The only way that Calyrex gets through this turn is if it switches out.
Yeah, and then you're still vulnerable to Volt Switch, and it goes into your Grimmsnarl this time. Takes around half because of that light screen, so it's decently taken, but now you gotta bring in Urshifu again. And depending on whether or not this Moonblast even went after the Calyrex is going to be detrimental, because it should knock out the Calyrex no matter what HP it is. Okay, there you go. Moonblast into the Calyrex, knocks it out. Grimmsnarl was left going for another Spirit Break because it didn't go for any of his priority moves. Where did it target? It targeted the Urshifu slot. Does it KO? No.
Oh. Okay, the fact that it didn't KO isn't good. If it KO'd, it probably would have been fine, but Without the KO, it makes it a little bit more devil.
And Landorus is the last Pokemon from Junxi.
Yeah, Landorus being the last Pokemon is makes sense and is pretty good for Junxi. Even through Tailwind, Landorus should outspeed Urshifu, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Landorus is going to outspeed because it had paralysis.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Even with Tailwind, Landorus will outspeed Urshifu if the Whimsicott wants to set up Tailwind right now.
Yeah, I'm just like curious in case of like what does. Well, do you just click Answer Storm just so, like you get the damage onto the Whimsicott because like if you get a double knockout, you force Miraidon in like a really awkward spot where it's like it doesn't have enough moves to hit everything because like you're both of your stabs play into an immunity.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Riley can't get one of these two out of the way.
Oh, Sludge Bomb. Hold on a minute. Ooh. It's Sludge Bomb. It's not Sancier Storm, so if Urshifu gets to attack, I think Riley wins. Does it get to attack, though? It does.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is a good spot for Riley to be in. I'm not going to say it's totally over yet, because Grimmsnarl does have a super effective move.
It's not going to be faster than the Miraidon, though.
Yeah, and it will get hit by Electro Drift, so maybe not.
Okay, but there's Spirit Break to knock it out. I don't think there's any way Miraidon loses to one-on-one against
Grimmsnarl is at like half HP and took like 1 billion damage against Volt Switch, so yeah, it's not going to. I guess Junxi was just playing for... Honestly, yeah, I think that was a bit of a misplay for Junxi, playing for the Para, because I think that because we saw Spirit Break do a decent amount to Whimsicott, and if... Yeah,
there you go. Riley's going to win game number 1.
But we saw the Spirit Break do a decent chunk to Whimsicott, and I think Sancier Storm plus Spirit Break probably would have taken it down. And that would have meant Junxi would have gotten both Pokemon out of the way, assuming Sancier hit, which isn't a guarantee, but if you're playing around Para, the 1 in 4 Para chance, you should play around the, 81% Sancier hitting both targets chance?
I thought Paralysis 1 in 5.
I think it's 1 in 4, maybe it's 1 in 5, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 1 in 5 because it got nerfed from 1 to 4 to 1 to 5.
Okay.
But by the way, I want to also...
But regardless...
I want to dive into this as well. I think the alternative plan was like if you know Whimsicott's going to go for a Tailwind, you might as well just attack the Urshifu style with Landorus, and that would have guaranteed the double KO, and then that forces the Miraidon into a one-on-one. Like, who do you target? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Is that like you could have just targeted the Urshifu, but if you leave the Whimsicott around, the Whimsicott can get one of the two out of the way while while the Miraidon deals with the other, but if you were able to KO both that turn, which I think was very plausible, then you just win. But in any case...
and game number 2, and this is an interesting team review. Like, games like this are a lot closer than we like to imagine.
Yeah, well, and I wonder now, like, do you think Junxi wants to play towards that same turn 1, knowing that you can burn off Riley's Terra immediately? Because that honestly mattered quite a bit, that Iron Crown Terra'd immediately and didn't do a ton with the fact that it terastallized. I mean, it was able to get rid of Raging Bolt, and that obviously mattered, but it wasn't able to do much else to anything else with that Terra specifically. And I wonder if that's something that Junxi wants to play around, is saying, okay, Terra your Iron Crown and get rid of my Raging Bolt immediately. If that's how you want to play this, I will use that time to do other stuff.
And that's the thing, because it's like, it's hard because, again, for Junxi, you lost your Raging Bolt turn 1, which might have been fine in the long run, because, like, having a hard time dwelling on it, and okay, yeah. So the timer didn't matter. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. The timer did not matter. Riley had his Pokemon locked in. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious if we'll see the same leads, because I think the Grimmsnarl got a ton of work done for Junxi, obviously, and I think it's probably still a solid lead. Raging Bolt obviously did absolutely nothing.
It did nothing but force the Terra.
Yeah, but it forced the Terra, and its presence there might have mattered, especially because it still has the ability to Draco Meteor the Miraidon.
Or Thunderclap Urshifu.
Or Thunderclap the Urshifu, and that's more of a if you bring it in the back thing.
Okay, it's the same lead again from Junxi, being that Raging Bolt Grimmsnarl. It's Miraidon and Incineroar this time from Riley as the lead. So Spirit Break is going to get reduced damage, and there's Fake Out Pressure.
Yeah, that both of those factors are nice for Riley. Although, on the other hand, you can't KO. Actually, no, you can absolutely KO Raging Bolt immediately. I believe that Dragon Pulse did over. No,
It did over 50%.
it did over 50%, but the light screen is just the 1.5 in doubles, right? Or the reduction by whatever that multiple is.
I believe
correct?
so.
So, I don't think you actually drop Raging Bolt immediately. If you do,
Oh, he's doing it.
this play could. I'm curious if this play gets the KO, because it would have been reasonably close to the KO, even with light screen up.
I also want to point out that fake out because I'm pretty sure Grimsnarl has to be tempted to click Terra Ghost just in case it doesn't want to get faked out and risk Raging Bolt being knocked out immediately by Dragon Pulse.
Yeah, that's certainly true, but I guess that's the question of are you able to get the... Do you need the light screen? I guess is what Junxi is wondering.
Alright, there is a fake out, no Terra from the Raging Bolt or anything that matters. So it does get the light screen off, so it will be a Dragon Pulse once again to the Raging Bolt. That's a lot more damage than last time, but unfortunately it still hung on.
Yeah. Yeah, so Raging Bolt still took the hit, through the fake out. I don't know where you go from here. I think that Junxi, if you want to be a little bit silly with it, you can click Thunder Wave into the Incineroar slot, because you know that is going to hit someone.
Not with priority, that's the problem. So you gotta call a hard switch.
Oh yeah, you can't hit Incineroar right now, that's the problem.
You can hit Miraidon, but the problem is just like it's an electric type, so it won't be affected.
You can't do anything to either of these.
Thunderclap. You can do Thunderclap though.
Yeah,
and,
you can do Thunderclap, and
yeah, they're just gonna take a trade of Raging Bolt taking damage, and then because the Incineroar is Assault Vest, it has to attack, so you know you got a Thunderclap that slot. So at least it was actually terrain boosted, so it got some damage off. And here comes a -1 Spirit Break to this Miraidon. It takes it under half. Oh, just over half.
Yeah, and I like that choice actually more than.
And there's the U-turn.
Yeah, the U-turn makes sense. I like the choice of Spirit Break into the Miraidon, partly because it was really the only choice that made sense, but also I think it just did. It did good damage, it did good work against Miraidon, and again, we're in a spot where Calyrex can come in now, knowing that Miraidon has to leave.
Yeah, and now comes the Iron Crown with a special attack booster once again. And Tachyon Cutter is actually threatening a lot of damage onto every one of a vast majority of Junxi's Pokemon, unless, of course, that Urshifu came in.
Yeah, and I do think that the that the Calyrex on Junxi's side can come in now and just Terra straight up. Just Terra.
Oh, it's Landorus coming in.
I actually like the Landorus more, honestly. The Tachyon Cutter doesn't do that much to Landorus, and you can just threaten Sandsear. And you force switches, you force Terras, you force a lot by just having the Landorus out here right now. And maybe you eat a Tachyon Cutter, but that's not the end of the world.
I don't think so either. I'm pretty sure you just find clicking Tachyon Cutter into something. It's like, there's no reason to Terra Ground right now, or Terra Ground Terra West, for that matter.
Yeah.
You could.
There's a reason to Terra Ground just so that you don't get dumped by Sandsear right now.
I was gonna say, you could go for Psychic onto the Landorus if you think it's gonna Terra Poison, and wait a minute, that's Terrastalizing? Okay, well, yeah, to be fair, yeah, you are correct. You are correct.
Terra, yeah. And it does mean that you do have to use this as a defensive Terra, which isn't necessarily ideal, but you won with it in game one, why not?
Sandsear missed something, Sandsear Storm missed something, it missed the Iron Crown!
Yeah.
It does have the Whimsicott, that's actually pretty impressive now looking at it. And here's the second Tachyon Cutter. Great damage under the Landorus with that special attack booster and the Life Orb.
Yeah.
What? Okay, we're going to click Spirit Break again. It's going to click the Iron Crown to reduce the tower again.
Ooh. Didn't get the Whimsicott. Actually, getting the Whimsicott there, if it would have picked up the knockout, might have been the better play. I don't know if it would have been enough. It would have been really close.
I don't know, because it's still at -1 from the Intimidate.
Oh, yeah, because it's at -1, then it's not going to. And yeah, that puts things in a kind of awkward spot.
Yeah, especially because of the Sandsear Storm miss.
Yeah, I mean, because of the Sandsear miss, but I don't even know if it would have taken down Crown from this range. But the thing is, it's just that Tailwind Tachyon Cutter can come out now. I think that if you're Junxi, you might just be playing around, get everything in range for Calyrex to get like a Trick Room up and try to win at the end. Which is kind of an awkward way to play right now. But, yeah. I feel like that's probably
And Crown protects. So Iron Crown's going to make sure it doesn't get KO'd by... Because I think this time's going to be a single target move from the Landers here. And Tailwind set up for Riley for later on in the battle. It's going to be another Sanseer storm coming up.
I see no reason why it can't be Sanseer again.
Unless, of course, it misses again, which it did.
That's brutal. That's just brutal.
Spirit Break does go into the Whimsicott. Now, here's the question. Yeah, it did not knock out.
It didn't knock out. Yeah, that's brutal if the Sanseer misses again. Like, without those two Sanseer misses, the game could be very different. But here we are in this spot. And I wonder if Riley's trying to stall out the light screen, but...
There's 4 turns!
Yeah, there's like so much light screen remaining, so I don't really know why Riley necessarily needed to protect there. I feel like the best option would have just been hit the stupid Landorus, just get it
I guess the Misa protect is like to get a Tailwind up safely, so you at least have speed control for the next turn. Because I'm pretty sure because of the latest Crown strain, I don't think it's faster than the Landorus.
I mean, it's certainly faster under Tailwind.
Yeah, but that was like before Whimsicott set it up.
Yeah, but after it used its Prankster Tailwind, it certainly would have been faster. So I don't know.
Anyway, Incineroar comes in here, another Intimidate onto the Grimmsnarl, so it's going to reduce the Spirit Break output again. Landorus protects. Time to see where the Tachyon Cutter landed for this Iron Crown. It goes onto the Landorus.
You kind of have to go after the Landorus at this point.
And the Grimmsnarl Spirit Breaks the Incineroar slot, so it's not going to do much. Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, well, and the bigger thing is not being able to get the special attack drop on the Iron Crown. You do wear off the Electric Train. Cork Drive goes down. So that is nice. Again, we're kind of in a spot where Junxi's win condition is getting Calyrex in reasonably safely, which is a really weird way to describe a win condition. But unless Riley plays this kind of weirdly and just lets everything get steamrolled by Sanseer.
Oh, double protect! That's when it gets snared by the Landorus!
Okay.
Was it a Tachyon Cutter to take? Yes, it was!
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that choice. Because I don't know what it accomplishes, is the crazy thing.
And there's a U-turn again in the Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by that. Because again, yeah, I don't really know... I guess you're keeping Landorus around, but I'm not sure what you're keeping Landorus around to do. And that's what I'm kind of scared of, is like, if Miraidon comes in, the fun is to a degree over, so to speak, for...
I'm actually curious on this Iron Crown's Cork Drive because of the special attack drop. Yeah, now speed gets boosted.
Okay. I mean, and that's...
And it's another special attack drop into the Iron Crown, so it might have gone faster, but it probably got weaker.
Yeah. But, I mean, the problem here is just that Miraidon is threatening damage on Calyrex coming in. Again, it's just about, like, what happens to Calyrex next turn. And I think that, I mean, right now, what is stopping Riley from finishing off Landorus with a Tachyon Cutter and then just launching out Electro Drifts? Like, I don't really see what's stopping Riley from doing that, and that would just win the set.
Yeah, probably a little bit too much passive play from this Landorus, but then again, Iron Crown was still threatening damage to this... to a lot of Junxi's Pokemon, so I think it's like a strategic way to reduce Iron Crown's damage output, and there is a switch out from the Landers, and there is the reveal of the Calyrex Ice Fighter from Junxi's side.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting choice. I'm not sure what the goal is at this point.
Yeah, here
again, I do
see how much damage. Yeah, that is definitely reduced damage.
Yeah, it's very much reduced damage. But at the same time, it's not like Calyrex is going to take a lot of those. Like, it does need
Volt Switch goes into the Grimmsnarl. KO!
Yeah, so that's a KO there. I guess... I mean, the problem here is that even with all of that, we're in a kind of interesting spot, but the problem is that I think it's probably Incineroar that comes in here.
I mean, it is Calyrex Landorus left for Junxi, so...
Yeah, I mean, they're two good Pokemon, but the thing is, Incineroar probably comes in here. It has Fake Out Pressure on one of the two, and you just get to KO the other one. I don't know how much Tailwind is remaining, I guess?
I think there's one more turn. No, that was the last turn.
Done. Okay.
But that still just means the Iron Crown is faster than the Landorus because of the speed booster that Junxi inherently gave the Iron Crown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly true.
And so it's like fake out in the Calyrex makes the most sense to prevent a Trick Room from going up.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that you do kind of need to stop that. But you can also double protect right now for Junxi, stall out the fake out turn. I think that's probably ideal.
I just have to think because, like...
Because after that, if you stall out the fake out turn, you can, like, terrestrialize Calyrex and get the Trick Room up and try to win from there. I think that's Junxi's way back into this game, which has kind of had the door open for it a little bit.
Yeah, I would think so as well, because you gotta force the Landers to protect here. It might be a double protect coming in here from both Calyrex and the Landers. No protect from the Calyrex. Let's see what the Great Iron Crown Landers attack. It's to the Landers, okay.
Yeah.
So nothing happened this turn. It's still the same situation. Who do you attack? Do you attack? I mean, you gotta Tachyon Cutter the Landers regardless.
You probably have to Tachyon Cutter the Landers.
And the light screen's gone!
Yeah, the light screen is down. You probably have to Tachyon Cutter the Landorus, but Calyrex... It's just a question of how much Calyrex can take. Because it's going to be... it's going to need to Trick Room, and it's going to need to just KO everything. And I don't know if it's going to be able to KO literally everything with Glacial Lance. That probably has to be what it does, though. Because Iron Crown is going to have to devote a mild amount of effort getting this KO here onto Landorus, because if you don't, then Sandsear probably knocks out both these Pokemon.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a critical hit, okay?
Yeah.
Not that it mattered, but...
I think the Tachyon probably would have gotten the KO regardless.
Not that it mattered, but I still think the thing that's gotta matter is, can the Calyrex have a Trick Room? Because I think there's gotta be a Flare Blitz. Oh, it's U-turn. So, okay, Riley's playing it safe. He's playing it safe.
He's playing it safe, but also he could have just won the set right there. that he would have won the set right there if he clicked Flare Blitz.
If he
knockoff.
No.
If he clicked Flare Blitz or knockoff, he would have won the set right there.
If he clicks Trick Room, you just Encore him.
I guess that's true, yeah. But you would have won the set right there by Flare Blitzing. Knocking off.
Okay, it's Trick Room.
Yeah,
okay,
Trick Room, and you can click Encore and you can win from there.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty self-determining. Riley Factura, he has not been in a kind of event in a while. And yeah, Junxi sees the wall.
Yeah.
It's Riley Factura moving on to the Grand Finals once again in the League Cup.
Yep. Definitely well played throughout the entire set. Been piloting this team really well, and piloting kind of that more balanced defensive play style with the Incineroar very much. I mean, it's always a game, a balanced game when you're able to click Fake Out a couple of times a game and U-turn a couple of times a game on Incineroar and just keep cycling that Intimidate. That's Pokemon for you.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, we have breaking news. We know our second finalist. It's Tyler Deasy. He dethroned Benjamin Harlan from his defending championship front, and it will be Riley Factura versus Tyler Deasy for Grand Finals, which will be coming up right after this.